picture it, you're finally at your bucket list destination. Everything's perfect. The weather's great. It's more beautiful than you could have imagined. You want to share this with people. Why not have it be great? We are by no means experts, but what we can help you with is to avoid the stupid mistakes so you don't have to make them like we did for probably a year straight. First thing, you're gonna go out and get some B-roll. And what is B-roll? B-roll is all that background footage. It's that video you're gonna take on vacation of all the details that if you weren't there, you might miss out on. By itself and at an extended length, it's not very interesting. But if you go on and get all those little details lined up and then you put them in your video with a verbal talking over them, just personal reflection on the experience, or even just put some awesome soundtrack to them, suddenly they're very interesting. It helps paint the whole picture of that experience. One of the hardest things that when we started shooting video was actually talking to the camera and looking at it in its little camera eye. Even doing this, I needed to take a couple breaks before I could really get into it again because it's been a little while. One of the easiest ways to get used to talking to the camera and even pretending this is something somewhat normal is to ask yourself questions and make yourself answer in complete sentences. And even better than asking yourself questions and sounding like a crazy person on camera is probably to have somebody else ask you questions. For example.
Okay, full disclosure, I know that I'm on camera, like, let's be honest, if you watch Trip at all, my makeup never looks this nice, but I don't know what Tim is doing, so I'm gonna try my best at impromptu here.
What is it about beaches that is so magical to you?
Beaches are beautiful at any time of day. You can enjoy the sunrise from a beach, you can enjoy laying in the sun in the middle of the day, and you can enjoy a beautiful beach sunset.
That's it?
That's it!
That's it?
I did all my makeup for that!
So now that you have that sound bite, you can isolate that audio, throw away that boring video, and actually put that over that awesome B-roll that you captured earlier, and it's gonna look something like this.
Beaches are beautiful at any time of day. You can enjoy the sunrise from a beach, you can enjoy laying in the sun in the middle of the day, and you can enjoy a beautiful beach sunset.
If you don't have a Finny just sitting around waiting to ask you questions or to answer your questions, you can always talk to yourself like a crazy person. That might seem really stupid, but it kind of gets the talk track going. So you can throw yourself out a question like, what was it like to travel with a drone for a year? And you can actually respond. Traveling with a drone for a year was a pain in the ass. You always looked like a nerd because you had a big square backpack on your back. It was always heavy. You never knew if you were gonna even get to use it after you, I don't know, carried it all the way up a mountain. But in the end, the footage was worth it. So with talk-ins or asking yourself a question, it sounds super basic, but it's a great way to hook your viewer at the beginning of your video. It lets them know kind of what it's about, what you're about, sets the tone. Just try it a few times. It gets easier, I promise. Or if you're still uncomfortable, you can always have a bevy while you're doing it. If you're gonna take one tip away from this entire video, it's this. For shit's sake, hold your camera steady. Just hold it steady. Hardest thing in the world, it should be the easiest thing in the world. And maybe it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart because it's something we've struggled with so greatly. If you can't hold the camera steady, there's the ground. You can put it on the ground. You can put it on a table, put it on a chair. If none of that stuff is near you, you can hold it against a wall. You could set it on a rock. It's nearly limitless the places you can put a camera that are steady instead of holding it like this the entire time. If there's absolutely nothing around you, nothing to put a camera on, and well, first off, you're a liar, but second, fine. There's nothing near you to put a camera on, hold it against your chin or hold it against your forehead. That's really stupid. You're gonna look like an idiot, but you're gonna get great footage. The human body is an amazing steady cam. Or you could also just buy a gimbal. Is your name David Attenborough? Is it Sigourney Weaver?
Hello? Anyone?
I'm Sigourney Weaver.
It's probably not. If you're not one of those two people, you need to limit the amount of facts you're throwing at the camera, especially in travel videos, very specifically. The worst and probably most boring travel videos on YouTube are where people with no expertise in a subject continue to throw facts at the camera and try to educate their audience. People don't watch travel vlogs for that reason. They watch them to have some fun, have some laughs, kind of forget they're on the bus for 5 minutes. We've all been there. Any viewer who wants to be really educated through a travel video is probably going to be watching the BBC, not checking you out on YouTube, which that's totally fine, different audiences. If you want to throw a little education at your viewer, that's cool, but think more hydrogen peroxide volcano and less organic chemistry textbook. Leave the really smart stuff to the people at the BBC. Use some interesting angles when you're shooting video. So if you shoot everything eye height from standing up, that's going to get stale really quick. There's a lot of different places that you can put cameras, and especially GoPros, that is going to make your footage way more interesting. You can shoot some scenes with something way in the foreground with you in the background out of focus. You can do the reverse of that. You can put your camera up for a higher angle. Just experiment, play with the camera, sometimes set it down, walk past it, just do something interesting. If it's always holding the camera out in front of you, you facing towards it 3 feet away, that gets boring for everybody really quick. The worst sin of creating video is creating something boring. Cut out everything not necessary and then cut out some more. It's really easy to get attached to your footage, and sometimes it's hard to lose it. You just gotta get used to chopping more and more of it away. Learning to be brutal with what you don't show people is one of the hardest skills to learn. So we know we've been guilty of this in the past, and we still are. It's kind of a crutch that especially people who make travel videos fall back onto. It's holding the camera right up here again and saying, hey look, I'm getting on an airplane. Hey look, I'm flying here.
Today we're driving through the Haast Pass.
Instead of just constantly telling your viewer what you're doing, show it to them.
Today we're driving through the Haast Pass.
That's why we're working with video in the first place. Nothing else, throw money at the problem. Like all things in life, there's nothing that money can't help.
If you have shitty audio, go buy an external mic. Look at this. Otherwise, it's really echoey in here.
If you have really bad video, you might need a new camera instead of shooting on that old point and click. Is your footage still shaky? We didn't even know this. You can go buy a gimbal. They're not that expensive and they make everything look awesome. Do you not know the nuts and bolts of actually editing a video? Click here and we'll show you how to do that. If there's not a magic floating button on this video, check out the links below. I'm sure there's something there. Do you need awesome music to use? If you do, Epidemic Sound, we wish we had found them a year ago. So those are some of our best beginner tips for shooting travel videos. It's stuff we wish we had known at the beginning of our trip. Everybody has their own little tips though. If you got something, drop it in the comments. We'll use it in a future video. Thanks.